Morning YouTube. So yesterday I got a comment about this inverter here. I actually put it back together so I can test it again. So the guy was asking me, and I'll plug the guy or put the guy somewhere up here, on the video, but he was asking if it was tested properly. No, it wasn't. Only at the time, the only thing I had was a fan. So I actually have a better setup now. I actually have an oscilloscope and a tester for USBs. I think this one does, 300 watts, which putting 300 watts to a USB is up there. And I also have a test rig for doing the inverter itself. So what I have here is two dimmer switches for these light bulbs. They're actually on two different circuits. So you have a 15 amp surge protector, or power strip, whatever you want to call it. And I can actually do 600 watts through both of these. So a total of 1200 watts. Up here I have light sockets, which on Amazon I think I paid like $20 for all six, and another $15 for 20 I think it was 20 200 watt light bulbs. So I have 3 hooked up right now, so I can actually test this bad boy. It'll add a load and I can adjust it from here, and I'll be plugging in this bad boy so you guys have like a visual aid of how many watts are actually being pulled through this thing before it cuts out. And I have the lithium iron phosphate battery right here, so I don't have to worry about any current draw, because the power supply was dropping out before the inverter was even tested. So, and that's supposed to be 10 amps, which doesn't even make 150 watts. So let's get to testing this thing. So first, I'm actually going to show you guys what the pure sine wave looks like. I say pure sine wave. This is modified sine wave. Or going to be modified sine wave. Alright, so what I'm going to do is unplug this so I don't kill myself. Plug this nugget right in here. Done. Boom. Here we go. And if you see here, if I can move this wire out of the way so that you guys, it's not in y'all's way. Right here, you have a modified sine wave. And that's because you can see, obviously it's square. A pure sine wave would be, wavy, and you'll see that all the dips would be wavy. And actually earlier when I plugged this in to test this oscilloscope, it was all over the place. So this thing's inconsistent as hell. So I don't know if I'd trust this right here to actually power any of my devices that are like crucial. Like a light bulb for sure, but like a computer or something that's really sensitive, can't really. I wouldn't. See, like it cut out. No bueno. And then it cuts back in. So, alright, let's unplug that since we tested that. Unplug this. Make sure the voltage goes away. Bam, it should be straight. Bam. Alright, so this is unplugged. And I kind of figured this would be a modified sine wave inverter. For being as cheap as it is, you can't really expect it to go any higher than that. So I'll plug this back in. And now we're going to test the USB ports, which that's not going to be as crucial as most would seem. This is I'm plugged into the 1 amp port right now. So let's test it on that one, and I will start applying amperage to this thing. There we go. Fan's kicking on. And I'll bump it up to 1 amp. So, it, as advised, it does handle 1 amp. I'll cut that on. Got this bad boy. I'll plug this into the 2.1, as it says. And let's go up to 2.1. And I'll move back to that 1 amp one and see if it'll handle 2.1 as well. See, keep on rising. Ooh, okay. So I'll back that back down because I think this is just a so I get 2.15 amps running through it right now. A little bit more. Okay, 2.1. It can handle 2.1 and 2.1. For how long? I have no idea. I'm not going to sit here for hours and test this port. Like I said, the crucial part is not the USB part. So I'll back this back off. And let's test the actual inverter. So plug this bad boy in. Got this in there. Got this. And plug this in. I don't know if you guys can actually see that through there. Alright, so I will start increasing the wattage. And we'll see. Okay, we have light. It has started. We're sitting at about 50 watts. And we'll slowly increase that. Come on, show me potato salad. All right, we are sitting at about 150 watts going through this bad boy. Fan is running. The light is on. And I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes and see how it does. And I'll actually plug in and see how many amps it's pulling on the 12 volt side of this. I think the last time I tested it, it was like 15 amps. So I'll plug in and insert, you know, a video or a picture of how many amps it's pulling. But I'm going to wait 5 minutes, but I'll speed you guys up. All right, so it's been 5 minutes. And the wiring on this thing is cooking 100%. I can barely hold that. The plug itself is actually, you know, the plastic or rubber on the actual wiring is now to the point where it's soft. And the unit itself is screaming. So, in the end, I do not recommend a $16 Amazon special inverter. But this is why I'm testing these things. One, I think it's fun. Messing around with like the oscilloscope and this USB tester. It's actually kind of fun. And you know, like this video was literally just because a guy, I say, didn't think I tested it right, but he was asking how it could have worked and stuff like that, which is, you know, understandable. I like questions like that because I'm not saying I want to prove anybody wrong, but you know, I want to know too. So that's why I went out and bought all this stuff, which I had it literally in my cart on Amazon. So the oscilloscope, modified sine wave. Everybody knows that's most likely what that's going to be. And then, you know, both USB ports work. So I mean, if you wanted to use this as a USB, you know, what do you want to call it? Power. I don't want to say power bank, but you know, hub. You can use that, and I would think small loads, that, you know, maybe a laptop charger or something like that that isn't pulling as many watts. I mean, that right there is the max that this is rated for, and quite frankly, I've tested it before and it cut out at, you know, exactly 155 watts. So I was doing this test to check and see how long it could run it, but it's already hot. It's still running right now, and it's still screaming. So the little fan in there is not cooling it down, and the wire size that they use on it is, you know, way too small. So it's more resistance, and it probably doesn't help if you watch the other video that the janky soldering that they did in this thing is probably not up to par for being something that's going to last a while. But that's what I expected from $16. Well, I hope this answered some of your questions and informs you not to buy cheap inverters off of Amazon. But I'm going to test some more to see which one actually is worth your money and your time. Thanks for watching. If you're still sticking here, like and subscribe. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, boop, boop. All right. Take it easy.